So I heard you wanted a new video. I know you've missed me. Come on. Hi, welcome to a new video. And if you're new here, welcome to this video. Go ahead and subscribe because we're all cool here. And if you subscribe, that means you're cool also. And while you're at it, go ahead and give this video a like. Like, why not? Come on. Like, I know you're gonna like it anyway, so you might as well get it over with. Come on, just do it. Today, we're gonna be doing a sketchbook tour. And we're also gonna be doing a art travel kit tour. So these are all the supplies I take on trips, or if I feel like drawing outside of my home, this is what I take. So this sketchbook is from my trip to the Pacific Northwest back in June, and I just recently finished it in August. And if you want to see the process and my thoughts on what it was like to complete this sketchbook, you can watch this video here. And as usual, all the supplies that I use in this video will be listed in the description below. But yeah, let's just get right into it. All right, so I got this bag for my birthday a couple years ago, and I'm not 100% sure where it's from, but I did find the exact same one on Amazon, so I'll be linking that as well as everything in here in the description below. As I was looking for it, I also noticed they have other colors and styles, so I'm very tempted to get another one to store things in. But anyway, like I said, I got this bag for my birthday and I thought it would make the perfect art travel kit. I'm not exactly sure which size I have. I know they have a small and a large option, but I'm like 99% sure I got the small one. Anyway, the size I do have isn't too big, but it's big enough to fit a variety of art supplies in. So it's perfect for carrying around. The quality is amazing, and I'm not sure what material it's made out of, but it's very soft and so far very durable. I've had this bag for about 3 or 4 years now, and I've taken it outside many times, and it still looks and feels great. I love all the details, from the little bust charms on the zipper to the fact that the handle is supposed to be a surfboard. That's just too cute. Then using it as a travel art bag is so fitting. I just love this thing so much. But enough of that, let's get to what's inside. As you can see, it's very packed in here. There's a lot going on, but I have a system and it works for me. I know some artists don't want to carry a lot of supplies on the go, but I'm not one of those artists. As long as it fits in my bag, it's coming with me. The first things in here are my water brushes. As you can see, there are quite a few in here, and I'll tell you why in a bit. But initially, I got these clear ones from Michael's, and the other ones are the Caran d'Ache water brushes. These are the Yasutomo Niji water brushes. I'm not too familiar with this brand or their art supplies, so I can't speak on the quality of anything else they have. This set comes with a flat brush, a medium brush, and a fine brush, which is basically all I need to be able to cover a page with watercolor and also get smaller details. As far as the quality goes, I didn't have too many issues with them. They hold color well, and the brushes are just as nice as the Caran d'Ache ones, in my opinion. The only thing I didn't like was that the medium tip brush seemed to expel more water than I wanted, no matter how lightly I squeezed the barrel. However, I could have just gotten a defective one, and for the price of $5.99, I'm not going to complain too much. Now for the Caran d'Ache brushes. So initially when I was looking for water brushes, I heard so many great things about these and I wanted to give them a try. I couldn't find them at my local craft store, so my only option was to order them online, but they wouldn't have come in before I left for vacation, so I settled for the other ones. However, while I was on vacation, I realized that both Seattle and Portland have a Blick's art material store, and I checked them both out to see if they had these brushes, and luckily I found them at the Portland location. This set comes with a large brush, a medium brush, and a fiber-tipped brush, which I've never seen or tried before, so I was curious to see how that worked. I found these were a little hard to use. The plastic is harder on these brushes compared to most water brushes, and to release the water, you had to press the button in the middle, and I felt like I had to press it really hard to get my desired amount of water at times, which was really annoying. I think the only thing that makes it worth it is the fact that it comes with a fiber tip brush and the fact that you can load water into it easily like a syringe. Besides that, I don't think it's worth the price, and I would definitely stick to the cheaper option. However, now that I have both, I'll continue to use them both. In my bag, I also have this little squeeze bottle. I couldn't find the exact one to share, but I'll link something similar below. I use this to refill my water brushes when they're running low on water. The tip makes it so easy and convenient, so you don't have to pour the water in. However, I do find that I have to squeeze the bottle lightly when refilling because I found that when I do it too quickly, water tends to come out from the bottom of the cap. There's also this little tab on the inside that I keep in while I'm not using it because I've noticed it will leak without it, but I haven't noticed any leaks with it in so far, so far so good. Now we have this cute little Miffy tin I got from Kinokuniya, and I thought it would make the perfect little container to hold my kneaded eraser in. Before this, I kind of just stuffed my eraser in my bag, which isn't smart because it would stick everywhere like gum, so I'm very happy I found this. It has a lot of room, so I'm sure I can find something else to carry in it as well. I also have this Prismacolor pencil sharpener, and I've had this thing forever. I think it may be broken though because the cap doesn't feel too secure. In fact, I was greeted with pencil shaping spilled everywhere in my bag when I opened it to work on some sketches on the flight to my trip. It was very annoying. So now I'm on the hunt for a new pencil sharpener, maybe something smaller since I don't tend to sharpen pencils often when I'm working with watercolor. So if you have any suggestions, please let me know. Now for one of my favorite little containers. I also got this from Kinokuniya, and I immediately knew what I wanted to use it for. Before making my own watercolor palette, I used the Koi watercolor kit, and I really enjoyed the sponges inside to clean the brush. So I wanted to do something similar and figured I could put some round sponges from the craft store in here, and it works amazingly. I also love Miffy and the little paint brushes on the top of the lid because it's just so fitting. And I feel like having these two in here really makes my bag come together in a cuter way. Now we have the sketchbook itself, which obviously fits in here perfectly, and that is exactly what I wanted when choosing a sketchbook, but we will get to that and the tour of it very shortly. I also have the Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2 crayons tin in the set of 10. I also have the set of 30, but I wanted this one to take when I travel. And as you can see, I'm not using the colors it comes with. I brought the colors I thought I'd use more, or maybe a color I was lacking in another area. But if you haven't heard of these before, they're water-soluble crayons, and they're so great for texture when working with watercolor. And unlike the water brushes, these are also a bit expensive, but they're definitely worth the price. So you may or may not be noticing a pattern here. I do love Caran d'Ache's art supplies, but I got this tin to carry my Prismacolor Cool Erase color pencil, some Stabilo liner pens, and of course the Caran d'Ache water-soluble color pencils. I also carry a white gel pen in here, but I recently used up all the ink in it, so I have to get a new one. But I'll share which one I use on the screen. The reason I got this tin was to keep everything organized and save room instead of just having the pencils thrown in my bag. It's also a fairly deep tin, so I can fit quite a bit of supplies in it, as you can see. At the top here, I have a couple of my Tombow brush pens, and just like the Neocolors, I chose the markers that I thought I'd use more, or a color I thought I was lacking in another area. Now last but not least, the main thing in my art bag is the watercolor palette I made, and if you want to see some of the process of me making it, you can watch this video here. In this video, I also share moments from the trip I went on that inspired the sketchbook, so definitely go check that out if that's something you're interested in. But now it's time for the sketchbook tour! Okay, so like I said before, if you want all the details on why I chose a sketchbook, go watch my previous video, but let's start off with all the stickers you're seeing on the cover. I did add stickers to the front and the back of the sketchbook, and I'll be sharing all these sticker artists on the screen. Alright, so as you can see, my cover page is pretty boring. I started this around 7 AM on the flight, and I guess I didn't feel like making it fancy or anything. I started the sketchbook June 2nd and completed it on August 31st, which, if you watch my previous video, you know exactly why it took me that long to finish it, but it's finished nevertheless. So first page, I like to start with a self-portrait. I've been doing this with all my previous sketchbooks, and I just think it's a cool thing to continue doing to see how different I draw myself and all the different styles over time. I think I captured my tired eyes and messy airport hair really well. I had to be at the airport really early, and I like to dress really comfy, so I most definitely won't be someone's airport crush. I also worked on the spread on the flight to Seattle and on the way back home. It was a nice distraction trying to see what colors each star would be. So basically I just flowed and mixed random colors all over the blank page, then used this deep blue to outline the stars and overlay the rest of the blank areas, and it helped a lot with some of the flight anxiety. I think this came out super cool. I worked on this on the way back home and I finished it at home a couple of days later. This is my fiance outside of the airport while we waited for our transit to take us wherever we needed to be. And this is one of my favorite spreads in the sketchbook because I had a vision for the type of style I wanted to experiment with. And I feel like this really came out the way I envisioned, which is rare for me. I forgot to mention it earlier, but I guess now is the perfect time to say it. But initially, I was working on the sketchbook in order from which I did or saw things. So far, everything's been in order, but very shortly here, it's going to be all over the place, and that wasn't a choice. I just messed up the order of the pictures and videos I was referring to. But anyway, back to the spread. This was at Snoqualmie Falls. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I think it maybe Snoqualmie, but if you're a Washington native or if you just happen to know, feel free to correct me. But oh my gosh, I went here the moment I landed and I was just in awe the entire time. I've never seen anything so green and so lush ever. It was raining the whole time I was there, but I loved it so much. I feel like it wouldn't have been the same without the rain. Anyway, I mostly used the Tombow brush pens to create this, and I really love how it turned out. The next thing we did after our mini hike was get some food, and I normally don't draw food, so of course I'm going to practice something I don't normally practice, and I love how it came out. We had some halibut bites, some crab legs, potatoes, corn, and some of the best crab dip I've ever had in my life. And I think it's so cool that it's forever documented in my little sketchbook. So this spread is a drawing of Miner's Landing. I don't really draw buildings, so again, I just wanted to challenge myself and practice something I normally don't. As soon as I saw the building, I was like, okay, I need to draw this. It's definitely not the best drawing of a building. It's very stylized, but that's what I like about it. It's so cute and all the details were so fun to draw. Now, this is the next day, and this is where things are in order, but that's fine. I went to a breakfast spot called Biscuit Bitch, and I'm a Texan girl, so I love a good biscuit, and it was really good. I decided to redraw their logo. It normally looks like this, but this is my sketchbook, so I'm gonna draw it however I please. I also captured their pride flag in the background because it was Pride Month, and I thought the green recycling bin would look cool on paper. I mostly used the Tombow brush pens for this page, and I love all the texture, especially in the bin. And here's a random drawing of a seagull that I saw outside of the aquarium. And those seagulls out there are huge. I don't know what they're eating, but they are huge. Because I live in North Texas, there aren't any beaches near me. The closest one is like 4 or 5 hours away. And I don't see seagulls very often, but all the times that I did, I don't remember them being that huge. So yeah, I'll always remember that big ass seagull. And for this page, I mostly used watercolor and the Neo colors. Of course, I had to draw the Seattle Great Wheel. There's not much to say about this one. I don't love it, but this was another challenging moment for me, and I don't completely hate it, so that's good enough for me. This one was made using watercolor, the water-soluble pencils, the Tombow brush pens, and a Stabilo liner pen. And this bear is a huge giant stuffed bear I saw in Miner's Landing. I'm not sure if it's real, like if it's a taxidermied bear, but I thought it was so cool, so of course I wanted to draw it. And for this sketch, I used my watercolor palette and the water-soluble pencils for the texture. Here's another self-portrait. It's not the best. I have a hard time drawing teeth or smiley expressions, but with a time limit of 10 to 15 minutes, I think it's pretty cute. And of course, I had to draw the Space Needle. This was outside of the Museum of Pop Culture, and again, I'm not the best at drawing buildings or towers or really anything technical, so I tried my best and I think it came out pretty good. A little wonky, but still good. Now, this is probably my favorite spread in this whole sketchbook. I love how it turned out, but it also means a lot to me. So this was at the Museum of Pop Culture, and they had a Leica Films exhibition, and I got to see the Pink Palace from Coraline in real life, and oh my god, it was huge. I was in awe the entire time. I was so in love. I wanted to cry. I just love that movie so much, and I appreciate all the artists and all the skills and all the time it takes to make just one thing. And like I said, this house was huge, so I can't even imagine how long it took to build this house, and getting to see all the puppets and dolls and all the props was so special. Seriously, if you haven't watched my spring and summer vlog, go check it out because you'll see for yourself how cool this exhibition was. For most of my sketchbook, I limited myself to about 10 to 15 minutes for each page or spread, and I just couldn't with this spread. I wanted to take my time with it because of what it meant to me, but I'm also trying to work on my perfectionism, so I didn't want to take forever. I think overall I did this in like 30 minutes, and I used mostly a water-soluble pencil to draw the initial sketch, my watercolor palette, and a Tombow brush pen. I guess all my drawing powers diminished after the last spread, but this is supposed to be a Seattle dog that I had after visiting the museum. And if you don't know what that is because you're having trouble figuring out what you're even looking at, it's basically a hot dog with cream cheese and grilled onions. Mine also had grilled peppers, and I opted out for a veggie dog because I'm a pescatarian. And even though it doesn't look too appetizing on paper, it was good enough to document, I guess. I've never been to a Blake's Arts Materials store before. Unfortunately, there aren't any in my area, so I've only ordered things from them online, but seeing one in person was so magical. Like, I went out of my way to go there and make it a stop on my trip. Anyway, they have this huge paint tube and palette sign outside of their store, and it was so cool, so I wanted to draw it, and I'm very proud of how it turned out. This is a building I saw in Capitol Hill. I loved all the different colored windows, and I thought it was so funky and fun, so I wanted to draw that too. Despite it being a little messy and maybe a little playful looking, I really like how it came out. Here we have some peonies from Pike Place. They were so beautiful, and I'm still so sad that I didn't get any while I was there, but hey, at least they're in my sketchbook forever. And on this page, we have some statue heads I saw in a window while I was walking around in the city. I didn't really like the expressions. I felt like they were very millennial, but I thought the display itself was pretty cool, so I thought it would make a great sketch. I saw this cute little guy at a hot dog stand. I think it's the logo for the business, but I thought it was so cute and I wanted to draw it. And this page shows my first time on a ferry, and it was so cool. Like, it's literally a water bus, and it was very interesting feeling like I was the only one kinda amazed at something that's just another average thing for the locals. Honestly, it's the realest I felt in a while. It was just people riding the ferry to and from work, like, wow, I'm really just a human, and these are all humans living their own lives and doing their own things. You know, just people being people, and I'm a part of that. Now, this is a sketch of the Public Market Center sign in the famous Pike Place Market. Not the greatest sketch, but if I'm gonna capture Seattle, I had to include this in my sketchbook. This next page is a very special moment. I got engaged at Mount Rainier, and of course, I had to draw that. It's just something I'll never forget. This is also at Mount Rainier, all in the same day. Towards the bottom of the mountain, it was super green and lush, but towards the top, it was literally a winter wonderland. It was so foggy and a little rainy slash sleety. I don't know if that's a word. I doubt it, but the rain definitely had some snow in there. So needless to say, our hike wasn't happening. It was actually very scary. I had a panic attack, but I still found it beautiful. Now, this is in Oregon. There's really nothing special about this sketch. I just thought it would be a fun and interesting scene to draw, and although it's very messy, I really like it. I also noticed I was using my watercolor palette a lot for the last few sketches, so I wanted to switch it up and just use the water-soluble pencils. Alright, so the aquarium! Like I said, this is out of order, so we're back in Seattle. But yeah, I took my time with this one because I was so into it. I love aquariums, they're just so peaceful, and the Seattle Aquarium is literally right next to the ocean, so it just feels right. I had such a fun time. I just think it's so cool and maybe a little scary that there's literally a whole world with a whole bunch of creatures that we don't know that much about just existing on the same planet as us. Of course, I had to draw some fish. I really love how the sketch came out, and I also saw these cute little tufted puffins, and I didn't really do them any justice. I promise they look much cuter than this. Now we're back in Oregon, hooray! This is Multnomah Falls, and it was so beautiful, probably my favorite part of the trip. When I was in Snoqualmie? When I was in Snoqualmie Falls, I thought I've never seen anything greener in my life, but after coming here, I was corrected. But it was so beautiful and so peaceful, I actually hiked quite a bit here. And this is Mount Hood, which was very cool to see on the way out. It's a very simple sketch, but I do love all the texture in it. Now, out of order again, we're back in Multnomah Falls. This was a little creek I saw deeper in the hike. This is also another one of my favorite sketches in here. It's very loose and it was so fun to draw, and on the way back down, I saw some pretty little flowers. So I thought it would be cute to give them this pink background. This is Crater Lake. I've never seen water so blue in my life. It was so beautiful, I just wanted to jump in there, but if I did, I would die. I wish I had superpowers. Like, I just wish I could experience everything on this earth. Like, why can't I swim in freezing water right now? Alright, these next pages are some of the worst sketches in here. Don't worry, there are worse to come. Maybe, I don't know, I think these might be the worst. But the animal you see on the left is a mongoose, I think. I saw it at the Oregon Zoo, and I thought it looked so sweet, but unfortunately I didn't capture it that way on paper. And the animal you see on the right is a chipmunk who was getting too close and comfortable with me at Crater Lake. I can't tell you why this spread came out the way that it did. I just think maybe I wasn't feeling it that day. Now we're in California! I went to the Trees of Mystery, and this was the view at the top of the gondola ride, and it was so beautiful. I didn't do the scene justice, but whatever, we live. Prior to that, I passed by a beach and it was so gloomy and it just felt so nice. I've also never seen black sand before, so that was cool. Unfortunately, the waves came crashing in pretty quickly, so my boots got soaked right before my hike at the Trees of Mystery, but that's okay, now I have that silly little memory. Alright, now we're back in Seattle. Wow, I'm such a fast traveler. Anyway, this is a little pigeon I saw outside of Biscuit Bitch, and I was feeding it some of my biscuit because why not? Who doesn't feed a pigeon? And this is some of the fruit I saw at Pike Place Market. I think most of this, if not all of this, was made with Tombow brush pens. I don't love this spread, but I think the strawberries look kind of cool. This is still at Pike Place. I look back on this veggie page and I don't hate it as much. It's a specific style, but this page is probably my weakest sketch in here, if not the animals, but overall I'm content with it. I can pretend it was intentional. Last but not least, we have our last spread / mini little collage page with a whole bunch of physical things that I kept to remember this trip. So there's a lot in here. I cut out a piece of my boarding pass to show where I was going. I went to Mount Rainier, I went to Crater Lake, and these are all clippings from the national parks maps. And I clipped out this picture of a marmot because I saw a marmot at Mount Rainier, which is really funny. It also snowed while we were at Mount Rainier, so that was fun. Here I'm just showing that I was in the Pacific Northwest. I saved my receipt to Mount Rainier and hearted the date because that's the date I got engaged. I saved this Golden Age Collectibles receipt and drew the Smiskies I got there. I also saved my Blix receipt because I went there the first time in Seattle and Portland. There's also just a bunch of doodles in here, just random stuff that makes sense to me, so hopefully in the future it will still make sense to me. But yeah, that concludes this sketchbook. Wait, are you still here? Welcome to the end of the video. Wow, you made it. You're so great and amazing. I hope you liked that video. How'd it go? Did you like it? What was your favorite page or your favorite spread? What do you want to see from me? What is it? Do you want to see anything at all? If you don't, I'm sorry. I'm gonna keep posting stuff because I like it and I think it's fun. And if you haven't already because you are stubborn, like this video and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!